Welcome to this week's episode of Lehigh Valley View with Ashley. I am Ashley Albert, and I'm really excited about this one because this is my first one, not at my house. I don't even think I told you that before we sat down. But I have here today Katrina. I was wondering if you could formally introduce yourself and tell me where we are and why we're here.
Sure. So my name is Katrina Sundstrom. I am the co-founder and executive director of the Parkland Cares Food Pantry, and we're actually sitting here in our brand new space. We just opened up last week to our new families, but after serving 5 years outside, we are finally back indoors in our choice pantry.
That's so exciting.
Yes.
So start me at the beginning. When was this pantry founded? And talk to me a little bit about its mission and who you serve.
So our mission here at Parkland Cares is we are serving the Parkland community, and we are serving those individuals who are suffering in silence from hunger. Mm-hmm. And our goal is to create this very welcoming, inviting place for families to be able to come in and shop. Mm-hmm. And we began in 2019, June of 2019, to serving just 12 families. And everything was going really smoothly. By the time March 2020 had rolled around, we had served 115 households.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That's a crazy switch in just 1 year.
Yes. Yeah. And actually, it was a solid 8 months. We had really just found our footing.
Aww.
And then all of a sudden, the pandemic hit. And we went from serving indoors to our families actually coming in and choosing all the items off of the shelves themselves to very quickly, overnight, turning into a contactless drive-through food distribution.
I remember that. So fun fact, Katrina and I made a connection when I first came in that I briefly volunteered with them years ago. And life just got the best of me, but she remembered me. So I remember volunteering with the contactless right over at Kernsville.
Yes.
Yes. So what was that like? Did the community respond well to that switch? Did they understand? I'm sure that was challenging for you guys.
It was very challenging. The community responded in this very beautifully, kind of overwhelming way. It was definitely a difficult change, but it was one that was necessary. We either choose to go contactless drive-through, or we weren't going to be able to keep our doors open.
Right.
And shutting our doors was just never an option. The community more than ever needed our services. And so we did everything we could to stay open. And in addition to a number of volunteers coming out, our volunteer base grew, our donor base grew, and the number of food donations that we took in at the time grew. And that's
actually really cool.
It is. Yeah. It's very cool. It was very much, I think it was around that time that we really started to take on kind of our tagline, which is community helping community. And it was this beautiful display of individuals just truly coming out of their homes at the time, which we were all, on the stay-at-home orders.
Right.
And to be able to come out and serve our community in such a way was really a beautiful thing to be a part of.
Yeah, and I think that's also, that's perfect because my whole podcast mission is all about community, and I feel like your organization really exemplifies exactly what that is. You know what I mean? Community members providing donations, and then you're also serving your community, and then you have volunteers. So this is it. This is the crux of community right here.
Thank you.
Why did you know, how did you know that there was a need in this area? Talk me through that.
Sure. So the whole kind of history of Parkland Cares, it was begun because of a gentleman by the name of Gary Smith, who inspired us to give back to our community. Gary Smith drove my children to school for about 5.5 years.
No way.
Yes. And unfortunately, at the end of the summer of 2016, he passed away. Oh. And it was at his service that we learned what a giving individual he was to both his community, his church, to his family. And we left the service and we said, how are we going to make a difference in our community the same way Mr. Smith did? Oh. And at that time, I was also volunteering at Fogelsville Elementary School, which is where my kiddos went to school.
Right.
And each Christmas, when the giving tree would go up that served Fogelsville families, we noticed that the number of tags were increasing.
Of people that had a need.
Yes, within that school, within Parkland. So we started to do a little research, and we realized at the time that there were a great deal of families who were food insecure.
Okay.
And when we started Parkland Cares, through our research, we had realized at the time that 25% of students were going home into food insecure homes.
Okay.
They weren't able to lead a quote unquote normal lifestyle. And for us, 1% of children would have been too many. But to know that 25% of children were going home. Kiddos that were essentially sitting next to our own children in school. We knew we had to act.
Right. And you would never know. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like your kids were going to school being like, wow, like it's like an invisible, like hunger is an invisible problem.
We always say that hunger hides in plain view. And it really sometimes shames those individuals who are struggling with it because they might be embarrassed to ask for help. They may not know where to ask for help. And so it's really why we wanted to create a place where Parkland families felt comfortable to say, I need help.
Right. So talk to me a little bit more about like, so it sounds like you started it.
Yes, I'm one of the.
You should brag a little. That's so cool.
I am one of the co-founders. Joelle Strahler is also the co-founder. And at the time when we were, thinking about ways that we could give back, we decided to host a food drive coming up on the first anniversary of Mr. Smith's passing.
Okay.
And we decided that we would go ahead and hand out flyers to our neighborhood. So it was my young kiddos at the time and my husband, and we handed out flyers in a bag to our neighborhood, asking for breakfast items because it's the most important meal of the day, right? And a lot of kiddos go to school without breakfast. And we also then brought in Mr. Smith's church to it. And we collected enough food to serve 30 families at Fogelsville Elementary, with the remainder of the food going to Springhouse Middle School. And those were the two schools at the time that he was driving to.
Oh, like as a bus driver. Cool.
Yes.
So it's like almost like celebrating this man and like his legacy.
Exactly.
Oh, cool.
And then Joelle and I got to talking about our shared, really our passion for wanting to give back to the community in addition to serving students. And it all just
came
kind of
from
built
there.
From there.
That's so cool. Yeah. What's it like starting a nonprofit?
It's exciting. It's a lot of work.
I was about to say, how is the paperwork?
It's a lot. But when you have a dedicated group of individuals like we did in our board, my husband, our volunteers, everybody, it's really a team, huge collaborative effort in order to make all of that work.
Right. So like you had enough people that were passionate about doing it that you were able to kind of come together and make it all happen.
Absolutely. Yeah. Our board from the very get-go has been a huge supporter of what we do. And then our community became a huge support. And what was interesting is a lot of individuals would say to us, well, I don't see hunger in Parkland necessarily. Right. So is it there? But the more we shared the stories, the more we shared the statistics, the more and more and more we had individuals who would say, how do I help?
Right. Can you share a little bit of those statistics? Do you know some off the top of your head?
Sure.
In Parkland?
Currently, right now, Parkland is experiencing about 33% of students who are going home into food insecure homes. And although we are not affiliated with the school district, we are heavily partnered with the school district. And so for the pantry itself, we're serving roughly about 150 families once monthly. In addition to that, we have our snack pack program, which is helping to feed students over the weekend. And that currently we're serving about 325 students twice monthly.
Yeah.
And our numbers just continue to grow and grow.
Right. So there was clearly a need based on those statistics to help these people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I will admit, as someone who's grew up around here, I sort of had the same thought. I was like, I didn't know that this area really needed that as much, but it also goes to show, like you were just saying, it's everywhere and it's invisible.
It is.
Yeah. So talk to me about like the process of, I'm going to ask what could be a very obvious question, but I think a lot of my viewership, or maybe people in general, like, how do food pantries even work? Like, I took some pictures here today with Katrina of like the food pantry and where we are, but like, where does the food come from? Sure. How do you guys get it? Like, talk to me about like the background of that, because if there's food here, and I know, I participated in drives where you like donate food, but like, is that all it is? Do you get like grants? Like, tell me about that.
Sure. So probably one of the biggest and our first step was meeting with Second Harvest Food Bank.
Okay.
Second Harvest Food Bank, the way that I describe it to individuals is they almost act as the umbrella. They're the food bank, where they are the big supplier of the food that we receive. And then we are the food pantries underneath that umbrella that administer the food to the public.
Okay, I didn't know that. So you're kind of under this like big higher branch almost.
Yes.
Okay.
And they're also affiliated with Feeding America. So it's Feeding America, Second Harvest, and then all the pantries.
Okay.
And so we went to them right off the bat and said, is there an issue within Parkland? are we on the right track to believing that we need to create a food pantry? And they said, absolutely.
Oh, cool.
And so we became a member agency of Second Harvest Food Bank,
Okay.
which means that each month we are able to order food from their warehouse that is both government food, it's local food, donations and such. And so we are able to order that food now, currently today, twice monthly, have it delivered
From
here to the pantry from
Second
Second
Harvest.
Harvest.
Cool.
It's delivered here. We are then able to stock our shelves and serve our families. In addition to that, we are also partnered with a fantastic company called UNFI, where we are accepting donations from them.
Okay.
We purchase food from Wegmans, from Grocery Outlet, but also we have an extremely, extremely giving community.
Yeah, I was just about to ask.
Yes.
Talk to me about the donation stuff.
It's really remarkable. We have about 6 to 7 different drop sites in our footprint of Parkland where families who are donating to us, let's say they can't make it out to the pantry here in Orfield, they can go ahead and go to these different locations that we have on the south end and the north end of the district. In addition to that, we have a lot of sports teams, the high school teams, the different schools themselves that hold massive food drives for us.
Oh, we'll do it like as a project.
Exactly.
Like we're like, oh, the soccer team is fundraising for Parkland Cares. They get a ton of food and then partner with you guys to drop it all off.
Exactly.
Got
and just in the past, I think 2 to 3 weeks, we have taken in, I think, over 1,300 boxes of cereal that came from the Parkland School District-wide school drive that the high school collected. In addition to that, we also took in a little over close to 400 boxes of cereal each from Schnecksville Elementary and Veterans Elementary, who were doing a domino effect type of project.
No way! And then they donated it to you guys?
Donated
That's
all
so
to
cool.
us.
Yeah, it's so cool.
So it's that community helping community.
Right.
It's all very community based to make sure that we have the food to give out to the families.
Okay. You know, I honestly will admit myself that I didn't know that a lot of the food came from Second Harvest, or that there's like a hierarchy for you guys to follow with that.
Yes.
That's great.
It's really important. That food is really pennies on the dollar for us. And if we had to go out and purchase all of that food ourselves, there's really no way that we would be able to make this operation run.
Right. How much do you folks rely on donations? Like, are monetary donations something that people can offer? Like, if an average Joe offered you guys $100, is that helpful? Like, how much do you rely on that?
Absolutely. Our financial donors are very important to us because we have rent that we have to pay. We have different bills that we have to pay. In addition to, we are spending a lot of money each month now on different types of food that we're not able to get maybe necessarily during different times that we've been open throughout the years. And so it's absolutely important. And one of the things we'll really be focusing on in this next year are monthly donors.
Okay.
Monthly donors are really important to us. And we, tell anybody that we're talking to, whether it's a business or whether it's somebody who's walked through the front door, that any bit helps. No amount of money donated is too small. Right. Because up to 52 cents, I think, can buy you a box of mac and cheese somewhere. And so every little bit helps a family.
So I have a lot of younger viewership, so I'm going to cater this question to them for a second. So I know that you are a nonprofit, and I think I have an understanding of what that means, but would you be willing to sort of explain that to the camera and everyone?
Sure. Yeah. So nonprofits are just different in the sense that, businesses are really for profit. People are coming in and paying money in order to support that type of business. Where we are nonprofit, when our families are coming into us, they are going home with their trunks potentially full of food. They're not paying a single dime for any part of that. And so what we are able to take in, we are able to give right back out.
Right. So in essence, like the money you're receiving from donations or the food that you're collecting, it's never like, oh my goodness, we're looking to make a profit out of this. You're just divulging those resources right back out into the community.
Exactly. Into the community, and then to definitely at times to help with our overhead costs.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So you said to me when I first came in that this was new. So,
Yes.
like, where are we and how did we get here? Like, well, how did we go from, you said we were upstairs and now we're downstairs. How did
Yes.
this happen?
So mainly we were upstairs, then we were in a parking lot for 5 years,
Oh,
and
God.
now we're downstairs. So like we said, back in June of 19, when we opened our doors, we were in our first location here on Kernsville Road, and it was an old dentist office, we had learned. And so we transformed that dentist office into a food pantry. And that was going splendidly wonderful until March of 2020 when the pandemic hit, and we were forced outside to continue serving our community. And we did that for 5 years at both Kernsville Elementary and Springhouse Middle School.
Okay.
And when you're outside, especially in Pennsylvania, you are contending with a great deal of weather. We did some trainings for our volunteers in the past couple of weeks, and truly we talked about our volunteers have weathered every storm imaginable. Everything from minus 10 degree weather to 100-degree temperatures, to rain, to thunder, to snow, to everything in between.
Just to serve this.
Just to serve. And they always did it with a smile.
Aww.
And our families that we would serve were so grateful. But it truly became time to get back indoors. And the reason truly was because we wanted to return that dignity piece to our families. For them to have a choice, to be able to walk in and say, my family can use this item, they can use that item.
Right.
And even some of our families in this last weekend would look at the shelves and go, I may not necessarily use that, so I'm going to leave that for another family.
Yeah, that's actually really nice, because then it's like, I remember, because I did briefly volunteer with you guys, it was like a set food. So we just provided each car with like a set items, which is wonderful. But I see what you're saying. Like, it could really help a family to say, and honestly, I appreciate it, but we don't really use this, or we don't really eat this.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why it was really important. And so last May, as a board and an organization, we decided to start looking for a new location. And we had looked at a couple of different options. And then our landlord made us aware that this location was going to be available.
Oh, no way.
So, yes. And so on November 1st, the first walls started to come down in this new location, and we were under construction until we moved into this spot on January 18th.
Oh my gosh.
And then we took just about 2 months to get it fully ready and set for families. And last Thursday, we opened our door to 55 families who came in and shopped for the first time.
Oh, cool.
And right around 30 that came in and shopped on Saturday. And we are still under construction upstairs. So we are going to have both units, but our upstairs unit will house our snack pack program.
Okay.
Because that's currently not here. We've been really blessed by the Fogelsville Fire Company that has housed our snack pack program for us for many, many years now. But that's all going to be upstairs in addition to our offices and our conference room.
So you'll still be able to like package the snack pack program upstairs and have a home right in this building for both things.
Yes.
When you say shop, I think I know what you're talking about, but it leads me to like a clarifying question I wanted to ask. How often can your families come in and receive food?
So currently our families are able to visit us once a month. The way that the system works is on the last day of every single month, they're able to go into our pantry soft. It's a software that we just started using where they can create an account. And we do currently only serve Parkland families, but they're able to go in and create an account for themselves and make a reservation. And then they're able to come once a month. And when they do, they actually have a personal shopper, which is one of our volunteers who greets them, meets them at the door, and or they're here in the waiting room. And once they're called back to shop, they are actually pushing the shopping cart, and our volunteers, their personal shopper. So they're helping them pick the items off of the shelves, putting them into the bags for them. And then once they're done shopping for all of their non-perishables, their fresh meats, their dairy, fresh fruits and vegetables, some personal hygiene items, then another volunteer goes ahead and helps them out to their car, loads their trunk, and we go ahead and bring the carts back in and start with the next family.
Nice. So is it only like on a Saturday, or they can pretty much book like a time whenever?
So whatever.
Or it depends on when you have volunteers probably too.
Yeah, and so we actually are able to pick the time frames that we're open, where we're hoping in the coming months that we're going to become much more consistent with that. But currently this month we've been open 5 times. We don't know that will be the case the next month, but what we do end up putting out there on the calendar, families can choose the time frames that work best for them and then schedule that appointment.
Great. Okay. So it's not like everyone has to come in on a Saturday and you're like slammed, and then there's not always Yeah.
We were really excited actually this last weekend and even the Thursday before, because what we realized is that we really can get a larger number of families in per half hour, even an hour, than we thought, which is going to allow us to really serve more families.
Like here in this
Exactly.
process of doing it.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Is there, so if I wanted to get more involved or a community member wanted to get more involved, what are some ways we can do that?
So what's super exciting is that after the final meeting tomorrow night, our new website should be going live.
Oh, nice.
So
by the time this premieres, it'll be there.
Exactly. There you go. You'll be able to go right to our brand new website, which will be super fantastic. But if you're looking to get involved, there will be a Give Help tab that you can click on that will then take you to the volunteer section.
Okay.
And you'll have a questionnaire that you can fill out. That questionnaire is then sent to our volunteer coordinator, Jamie Walker, and Jamie will get you started with the first steps. You'll have an orientation, some paperwork, and some clearances that need to be done, and then you're set to start volunteering.
Great. And are there like there's different options for volunteering, like snack pack and helping people come shop?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We have about 10 different ways that individuals can get involved right now. Definitely our biggest one is the choice pantry, as we call it. But we also have our snack pack program. We have delivery of the snack packs. Another super exciting thing that's happening for us next year is we're going to have a garden on premises here.
Oh, that's so cool.
So we will be able to have everything from planting the seeds to watering them to harvesting them and everything in between with that project. We also have, my goodness, you can help us by being an ambassador and going out into the community and helping us spread the word about Parkland Cares. But there are a number of ways to get involved, and those will all be listed on our website.
Great. Even like if someone wanted to just donate food, there's ways to do that. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We will have 3 different time frames every single month where individuals can drop off food here at the pantry as a donation, but our drop boxes are always available for donations.
Okay, throughout this area.
Yes.
Awesome. That's cool. All right, so I'm going to put you on the spot here, but the good news is this is a podcast, so I can edit it to make it sound like none of us are even thinking. If you give me like your, obviously keeping, client confidentiality, but do you have like a funniest story that happened here at the pantry or like one of your best memories? Like I'd love for you to like personalize a little bit. Like give me some good stuff.
I do.
Okay.
And very authentically, it's hard for me to not get choked up with this story. But when we were still upstairs before the pandemic had hit, we'll use the name Billy.
Okay.
Billy and his mom entered into the pantry, and they had never really been to a pantry before and were definitely a bit nervous and a little just timid. But as they made their way through the pantry and everybody greeted them in the different rooms, there was a level of ease that started to settle over them.
Aww.
So much so that when Billy came around the corner, and that night we happened to be handing out Halloween candy.
Oh, cute.
And I said to Billy, I was like, hey, come on over. You're able to take a bag of Halloween candy home. And he said, well, I've got siblings at home. Can I take some home for them too? And I said, absolutely. And he looked at me and he's like, this is the best place ever.
Oh.
I love it here.
Aww.
But what was even more heartwarming than that was when he made his way out the door, Mom went first and Billy came behind, and he turned back and he said, thanks for helping my mom.
Oh my God,
that just had all of us kind of choked up. He went out, helped Mom load the car, and brought the shopping cart back in and went around and hugged every volunteer that was there that night and thanked them for helping his mom.
Oh.
And it is stuck with me. It's stuck with every one of our volunteers. Somebody just shared the story last week when they were in. And we have many stories like that.
Yeah.
Just the thankful nature of what it is that we do here, what the community does as a whole, and the effects that it has on the lives.
Right. And that boy is going to remember that for the rest of his life. You know what I mean? And especially his to experience something like that when you're so young, and then to have the maturity to say like, thank you for helping my mom is crazy. And then like to know that this organization like did that. It's so sweet.
Yes.
That's a really good one.
Thank you.
Good pick.
And there's a lot of it. And, we just had one on Thursday. There was a gentleman by the name of Dean. And if you check out our social media site, you'll go ahead and you'll see Dean's story. But Dean was our very first family in line for the Choice Pantry. And he's joking. He said, well, where's the red tape? Where's the photos? And we very much respect the privacy of our families. Yeah. We will not put faces to names or faces on any of our social media. But Dean was okay with being photographed.
He was like, please,
Yes.
I would like to be famous.
And he's just wonderful. And we had the best conversation with him.
Aww.
And Dean just filled all of our hearts on the way out. From his laughter to his level of ease to just sharing about his life. It was a really neat experience.
Yeah, that's so cool. And that means like they obviously like are like, they're investing in like the pantry themselves. You know, they're really, he's comfortable with you guys. So he's like, wow, I'd love to like share more or be around. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. All right. So I always ask the same 4 questions at the end of a podcast. Okay. So here's the first one. Who is someone in Parkland Cares circle? So whether that's you personally or just someone that you're Parkland Cares Food Pantry partners with that you met unexpectedly. So I'm asking about like an unexpected connection or like something that was out of the ordinary.
Sure. Definitely out of the ordinary for us would probably be our connection with UNFI. It was something that we weren't expecting. It's something that came along at a time where we really needed it to, and where our families were able to really benefit from the amount of food that they were bringing to us. And what was really beautiful about it and super unexpected was that when they would deliver the food to Springhouse Middle School, their employees who had worked super long shifts already would come and hand out the food and to be a part of the whole experience with our team. And so that was really remarkable.
And UNFI, correct me if I'm wrong, they're located like right in Schnecksville. That's what I thought.
They're right in our footprint.
Yeah, that's great. No, I think it goes back to like you feel there's like all these studies, and you probably know this, but there's all these studies about how like when you help people, you feel good. You know what I mean? So if you like spend an entire shift with UNFI and then you come deliver, food for a food pantry, it's like, oh my gosh, feel great. I'm helping someone.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. It's like really good for your like, there's like these chemicals in your brain that get released if we want to get like real technical.
Yes, but absolutely. Yeah. And you could just tell that from the smiles to the energy. This Saturday distributions were actually really all going to miss, because it felt like this family homecoming once a month.
Yeah, with all these families driving by.
Yes, between the families and the volunteers and all the different partners that you saw, it was just one of those days that you looked forward to time and time again.
Right, to like have everyone come together and hand out food.
Exactly.
Yeah. Who is the most, well, this is sort of, it's when I interview like certain particular people, I ask the same thing, but who is the most helpful to the pantry? So maybe this is not, I think for you, we're going to rephrase the question.
Okay.
Is there like a certain volunteer that you want to shout out? Is there like someone who helps you folks a lot, like another organization that helps you guys a lot that you want to shout out? Like just kind of in the way of helpful, or like what's like a bright spot or someone that does a lot of great things for you that you'd want to shout out?
Sure. I could easily, definitely individually speak about a number of volunteers, but what I will say to you and your viewers, and what I say to all of our volunteers, is that our volunteers as a whole are the heart and soul of our community and of our organization. Without them, none of this works.
Yeah.
And so the volunteers are really key to the success and to the heart of Parkland Cares. And so I truly could point out so many of them, but it's this family that we've created here in order to give back to our community.
Right. So it's all of them.
It is.
Yeah.
It's all of them. And then in addition to all of our food partners, the Rotary group that is a part of Parkland Cares, to the churches that have been a part of Parkland Cares, to our board, to just so many individuals with the projects for us to be able to get into this space. MKSD Architects, NTech Engineering, our landlord who was kind enough to donate $25,000 towards the project.
No way, really?
Yes.
Oh, that makes me feel good.
That's
so neat.
And so it really does take a community to help a community.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah. What is another business or organization in the Lehigh Valley that you love?
Oh, goodness. I think that I will always have a very special place in my heart for the Kindness Project.
Oh, cool.
Janae, who is the founder of the Kindness Project, we started our organizations right around the same time. And Janae is doing really, really incredible work through the Kindness Project. And I remember meeting with Janae very early on during the pandemic, because we had a ton of baby food left over that we could no longer hand out because of the way that we had to operate in the drive-through distribution. So I took it down to Janae, and I will never forget her telling me that, Katrina, you guys are really busy right now we're going to be really busy when we're coming out of the pandemic.
Mhm.
And they are. And they are doing incredible things. And so I just have so much respect for the Kindness Project.
What can you tell me a little? I know, but just for the viewers, like, could you tell me a little bit more about what the Kindness Project is?
Sure. So the Kindness Project is an organization that helps foster families when they are taking in children to be able to come in and shop their store, essentially kind of like our families are, free of charge, to take the items that they're going to need to help those kiddos that they're bringing into their home.
Oh my goodness. So it's like helping these kids get their start in a home that they've just, like a foster home that they're starting at.
Exactly.
That's cool too.
Yeah.
It's nice that you also like kind of all know each other in like the nonprofit world, like at least locally, obviously. Yeah.
It's neat. And it's something I always say that it's really incredible when you're able to be a part of kind of this nonprofit world, as you're saying, when you're able to meet with individuals who also share your heart for giving back. It really provides for some good, just, back and forth of, well, what's working for you?
Mhm.
And, what can we go ahead and implement here, and to share the stories and the experiences. And it just helps everybody's organization grow.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I was going to touch on this earlier, but this is a great segue. Like, it's like things in life, like we all know this, things in life are hard.
Mhm.
But I can imagine as an operating nonprofit, things can get really hard for you folks.
Very
and
much.
I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like an organization that's meant to do a lot of good, like this food pantry, probably does face some criticism from either people in this community, and I'm sure that there's days where you're like, oh my gosh, this is just, there's so much, red tape to like crawl through, or so many like hurdles. So I'm sure that it's nice to connect with like-minded people in that way, be like, hey, this is what we're doing it for. Or like, with that woman, you probably say, oh my gosh, we're struggling with this too.
Right.
Yeah.
And it is good. We definitely can bounce all of that off of one another. And, we're also, like today, I've been texting with Low Hill Food Pantry, and we are able to go ahead and connect with them if we have an abundance of items that we can share, or with Allentown Ecumenical and such, and especially at a time where the food supply chain is not what it used to be.
Right.
And pantries are doubling and tripling in size. And so if we can really rely on one another to go ahead and share with one another that, okay, this is what's working, this is what's not, this is where I found that, you can get this deal on food, or you can go ahead and find, a support system here. It's all really important.
Yeah. And here's how we can help each other.
Yes.
Yeah. That's awesome. Who else do you know in your circle or an organization that you think, this is not a commitment, but that you think would be good to come on this podcast? If you could recommend something to me, or someone I could reach out to potentially.
Honestly, Janae, with
Really?
the Kindness Project, because I think what's important so much for the Kindness Project is that not only are you helping their organization, but then you are potentially helping children who have been living maybe in, different foster homes, to finally potentially find that forever home.
Yeah.
And so I would very highly recommend the Kindness Project.
She'd probably have really cool things to say too.
She absolutely would. I know Janae well enough to know that she would.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for doing this with me today. Do you have anything else you'd want people to know, or any other takeaways? I want to just give you the chance to cover something that I didn't ask you.
Sure. I just think it's really important as we move into this next phase that we really start to, ask individuals to please follow us. Find our Facebook page, go ahead and sign on to our Instagram, because when you like our pages, when you follow us and you share out our information, you're just continuing to help us to build that volunteer base, our donor base. And honestly, along the way, you're able to really put out there for more families to learn about us and our services.
Yeah, great. So even someone following you guys, or just knowing about your organization, helps in some way, because it's just word of mouth.
It sure does.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Katrina.
Thank
This
you.
has been lovely, and I can't wait for your episode to premiere. And
Great.
I really appreciate you spending some time with me today. I know you've got a lot going on.
Thanks.
So.
We appreciate it too, as we continue to grow. The opportunity to be able to speak about Parkland Cares and what we do, and to share it with new viewers, is really important to us. So thank you.
Thanks for joining this week's episode on Lehigh Valley View. Make sure you follow Parkland Cares Food Pantry on their social media. I'm going to link it for you on today's episode.